Well, thank you. Initially, when I came on the day after the incident happened, I thought it was like the flood of 1994. And I was a witness to that. I've seen the level of destruction. But when I came and went around with the governor, I saw things that are, what has happened is beyond any human imagination. Nobody will understand the level of destruction of this flood until you go around. Even if you are in Maiduguri, for example, those of us that are living in the less affected area like GRA will not understand until you go around. When I went around, I saw Maiduguri, almost 70–80% of Maiduguri is underwater. It has been affected by the flood. From University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital up to part of the University of Maiduguri, all is underwater. Gonge Bridge, the two bridges that were constructed, have given up. From that Gonge Bridge up to Government House is underwater. From the zoo, or even School of Nursing, down to areas that you cannot imagine, is underwater. The three major markets in Borno, that is the Monday market. That Monday market completely is right now is underwater. The Budum, next one is the Budum market. Budum market is completely submerged. The Gomboru market is completely submerged. The Gomboru cattle market is also completely submerged. In fact, some of them were telling us that many of their animals were washed away by the flood, and they can't find them. And as reported by police, that's just a small one. They have so far recovered over 11 bodies of people. Children are dying. There are people that are lucky to have houses with upstairs. They are still there. As I'm speaking to you, they are still there. So the damage is too much, and the state alone, no way, the state cannot handle this. The federal government must intensify. Not only federal government, but I saw some NGOs around, like Red Cross. I saw some of these NGOs are giving helping hands. But truly, I must commend the Nigerian Army. The Nigerian Army and the police and other security agencies are almost everywhere. Number one, trying to rescue people. Number two, trying to protect the properties of others that have abandoned their houses for security reasons. But, of course, the state governor is if you see him during these days, you sympathize with him. And that's why I even decided to stay back so that we give him the moral support. He's running up and down, trying to provide emergencies. So far, I think he has created or established about 25 feeding centers. And alhamdulillah, also I saw many individuals, despite the situation they are, many people are cooking food from their houses. But honestly, the effort of the federal government, NEMA, Northeast Development Commission, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, the presidency, they need to intensify, put more effort that are visible. So far, the intervention is not impactful. And many people, as I'm speaking to you now, cannot find something to eat. And worst of it, even those that have money cannot, get food or items to buy. I give you an example. Even myself, I prefer bread for breakfast with stew or something like that. Unfortunately, there's no bread. You can't, even with your money, you can't find bread to buy. You go to the market to look for animal like the day before yesterday, I wanted to buy a ram. Couldn't find it. We were lucky we had to go to that Bulunkutu market to get one. So all I'm saying is, it is not about Maiduguri. It is about Nigeria. I have never seen something like this in my life. And I don't think there's any town or state capital in Nigeria that has been so devastated like this. As I said, everywhere. I was surprised that the whole of University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital has been submerged. Part of University of Maiduguri has been submerged. The General Hospital has been submerged. I think the only hospital standing is the one in GRA here. All the others, even the one in Tasha Baga Road, there's one hospital that this government built newly, is submerged. And the graveyard, you know, has given away. Dead bodies from the grave is being washed into London Chiki and Gozari. So you can imagine the aftermath of this if the water is not drained. And what the federal government needs to do is to come and do a real quick survey and then get this dredging equipment to go to the end of the discharging point, allow discharges when it overflows like this. It discharges in Jere and is it, what do you call that? Adamari, Zabarmari, where they farm. Yes. So they need to get there and then try to excavate way out so that the water can now flow and go. Otherwise, the aftermath again, because these buildings are not strong enough, if they stay in water for a while, then they will start collapsing. And it may collapse with people. So that will be dangerous. Besides, the level of contamination, because bacteria will now start to spread. And then, you know, Maiduguri, even before the flood, is a mosquito-infested city. It will also be another problem. So in order to avoid or to work proactively against the humanitarian crisis that will follow, the first one is to make food available, not food grains like that, because you give it to poor people, there will be nowhere to cook it. So it's to open up a bigger feeding center. This place, what do you call it? Rama Square. Rama Square is so big, they can deploy police army and then deploy women and volunteers to cook food. Just keep on cooking food and let people go there to get a meal. Even if they have to take it to their houses, you have a meal for them. And our meals here are very simple. Miyan kubewa and maize, or you boil rice, jollof rice, or mix it with the palm oil, and that's it. And then you have meat. We can get meat from other states. So this is very terrible situation that we are in. And as I said, this is not catastrophe that affects the people of Borno, because in Maiduguri, I can tell you that there is no state that has no indigene from other states that are residing in Maiduguri. I don't think. Even I was telling one of my friends that maybe states like Bayelsa or South. No, then somebody was sitting there, he said he's from Bayelsa. Right away, where we were talking, when we were discussing that maybe people from South. But you know that all the states in Southeast, we have them in Borno. The Southwest, we have so many of them in Maiduguri. We have so many people from North Central. in fact, from all the states in North Central. We have so many people from Northwest. In fact, many. The Zabarmari is, you see, one of you here is even from, two of you from Northwest, and that Zabarmari too. The people that are most affected are from Northwest, because they are the rice farmers in that area. So it is the whole country that is affected. And I think the federal government, honestly, we have a scratch of what they are doing, but they need to intensify it to create a national, and this is a national disaster, not only a state disaster. And they should declare a kind of emergency on food and feeding. Food, feeding, and rescue. Because up to now, so many people are trapped. You can't get to them. You can't move from here to Muna. We too were, the governor and myself and others that are all coming, you can see, they cannot move with even Land Cruiser jeeps across. You have to use the amphibious trucks, not duty trucks. Duty trucks, the state government has deployed all their trucks, the yellow bucket trucks, but all of them, you could see they are stuck because they can't move. The only 2 trucks are those that are provided by the Nigerian Army. And all these 3, Nigerian Army have done, the police are still up to it. They provided boats, they retrieved boats from the Chad Basin area. Adamawa state government sent boats, and people, almost everywhere in Borno now is by boats that you can easily move, especially those areas that are affected. This is a very serious matter. In fact, if we were on we had resumed, we would have sponsored a motion stating clearly the measures and the actions that the federal government need to take. So, because we are on recess, I'm using this as almost like an opportunity to move a motion, kind of motion appeal for the federal government to intensify issues to address the imminent humanitarian crisis, especially in the area of health that will come after, and also the area of housing, because most of the housing that are in those high density are not well constructed. They are locally constructed, so they cannot withstand the effect of the flood so long. The earlier, the better. Otherwise, we will enter another crisis. I understand that this issue of flood affects almost 26 states in Nigeria, but I can tell you that Borno State is most affected, because the flood did not only affect Borno, it affects Bama, it affects Dikwa, it affected Goza. Part of my, 2 of my wards in Goza have been affected. Ambagda, Limankara, Jaji, Isge, and Wala Wareveduri have been affected by flood. Bayo local government, 6 wards in Bayo local government are affected. Kwaya Kusar are affected. Biu, in Miringa particularly, many houses, over 30 houses have been destroyed in Miringa. Shani, in the area, also is affected. Howell, some parts of Howell are also being affected. And that is, I'm counting Southern Borno. Damboa, many houses have been washed away and destroyed in Damboa. Chibok, we even lost so many lives in Chibok. One family lost about 5 or 6 of its members, the former chairman of Damboa, of Chibok. Uba Askira, some part of Uba Askira along the Lassa and Axis, and some part of Askira has also been affected. So I can say that in Borno State, I got an information that even along Baga Road, because the Chad has been overflowing and it affected so many areas like Marte, around that Marte, around part of Mongono, and part of Baga itself has also been affected. And in fact, going down to Gubio, Gomboru, some localities or wards have been affected. So the federal government should honestly stand up to it, because this is a matter of emergency. And the purpose of government is welfare and security of its citizens.
Okay, thank you. Just clarify.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, about there's this saying that Alo Dam provided about 40% of the water, clean water that people consume in the town. Now Alo Dam is no longer usable. Then, and what is now in the town, within Maiduguri town, I think there is a shortage of water. I mean, clean water for people to drink.
Well, well, I don't think that is the case. These are two issues. One, the dam was so filled and it broke the dike, one of the dikes that normally holds the water. Right now, the Alo Dam is still full. The water from the dam is the water that is used, channeled to the treatment plant. So it does not affect the water available for treatment. The only thing that maybe is affected, because I don't know what is the actual situation, the only thing that may be affected is maybe power supply or the processing of water. But the water to be processed is not in shortage. Just because the dam opened does not mean that there is no water that flows into the treatment plant. You understand? The only thing is that they held the water, that is the dam now, damming it, then they allow it to come to the treatment plant. So that I don't think. The problem that we have in the areas, affected areas where there is water from the treatment plant is you can't even find the tap, because the tap have been submerged. You understand? In most cases. And in most houses where the water treated from the treatment plant comes to their household, they don't have water tank. They use a tap. They open the tap or they have just small. And that has been submerged. I don't know whether you will be able to go to that Gonge area. Gonge area, there are some houses, only upstairs that you can see. But the houses have been completely submerged. And then those that have upstairs, they ran to the upstairs and stayed. I have a friend whose house is this Satu's hotel. It's completely submerged. The only part remaining is the second roof, the first floor. In fact, teaching hospital, when it happened, it's the same thing. They have to move all the patients to this to upstairs, and then after that they have to even discharge them. And then you can see that almost 13 new departments created by the teaching hospital have been submerged. I wish we didn't go around, go.
I went.
You went round. We went round. We went round yesterday from Lagos Street. We went round through our teaching hospital, coming down to Custom. Then we Gomboru, then Abaganaram. But the other day we went around from that Custom to up to Chad Basin. Now, when we reached Chad Basin, like Chad Research Institute, we thought that is the end. Only for them to tell us that the water, the flood has affected from there up to Mafa. Up to Mafa. You can imagine the distance. So from that Gomboru market down 15 kilometers or 22 to Jere and Abadam, they're all submerged. People from Jere, Abadam and all of them are. That Gomboru cattle market, you know how it is. You know how big it is. It is an international cattle market. It's submerged completely. And they lost most of the animals. College of Agric. No, I understand that the federal government distributed nationwide or made available 3 billion to address cases of flood. But that of Borno is supposed to be treated special, very, very special. You know why? 2 reasons. One is that even in the federal allocation that are made to state, Borno is, on the average, let's say, but the resources being, that is due to Borno State monthly is small compared to other states. Number 2, Maiduguri is adjudged internationally even as one of the poorest states in the world. Therefore, our revenue generation is very, very poor. So mostly we depend on the federal government allocation. Number 3, the problem we are facing for the past 13 years or so, since 2009, we are still struggling with Boko Haram, pockets of them in so many areas. There are still some local government that, people have not been able to access, and villages, especially in far northern Borno. You are also aware that in the northern part of Borno and some part of the Borno Central are also mostly affected by poverty, Boko Haram, that is insecurity, and also lack of access to the farmlands. Since Boko Haram is, killing many people, Boko Haram is still killing many people that even go to their farms. And now this flood, what they have grown, what they have farmed, have been washed away. And I told you, like you were there in my village, the incidents of insurgents again, Boko Haram, going to destroy or harvest unripe crops. So the challenge is too much. And we have no any other place or where to run to except the federal government. And the federal government must treat this, as I said, NEMA, I've seen presence of NEMA there, and Humanitarian Affairs and Northeast Development Commission. But that is not, it must be impactful. Like I said, many people in the high density area where the flood is affected mostly, they should open a emergency feeding center. We have a space, big space, that can accommodate thousands of people, the Ramat Square. And in fact, they can even use the sports center for that purpose. Already the state is using various schools, but that is not enough. It can only take maybe 1,000 or so. But Ramat Square can take like 50,000 or even 100,000 people. And it's enclosed. So it's easy to manage security-wise. You deploy security there, people queue up, and then the food is cooked, continuously keep on cooking the food, and it can be there serving 24 hours since security are available and it's in the center of the town. And anybody can, the government should announce that if people can come there for a meal, plastic, they can bring plastic plates, plastic whatever this takeaways, and then serve people cooked food. The reason why I'm emphasizing on cooked food is, you know how people are again. If you give them grains or rice or money, they will not go and use it for the purpose it is meant. But if it is a cooking center, it's either you cook the food or you keep it and eat later. You cannot sell cooked food while somebody knows that he can go somewhere and get the cooked food. That is the best. That is what is being practiced all over the world in the cases of emergency.
So in other words, the federal government needs to intensify efforts at rescuing already...
At the intervention, the humanitarian crisis intervention of the federal government must be jacked up, must be intensified, and it should be visible. Why I'm saying it's visible is that we hear on the TV, but we don't see it on ground.
Thank you so much.
So this is